My child, you are already late to this appointment, and if you are brutally honest with yourself, beyond the carefully curated excuses you recite to get through the day, you know it. You feel it deep inside the marrow of your bones. This is not the frantic, adrenaline-fueled panic of a missed deadline at work or a forgotten anniversary. This is something far heavier, far more ancient, and infinitely more terrifying. It is a seismic tremor in your spirit, a low-frequency hum vibrating beneath your ribcage that tells you the life you were designed to lead is currently happening without you. You are missing your own existence. You have felt it in the quiet moments, haven't you? It hits you in those terrifying microscopic pauses when the noise of the world fades. That split second between the garage door closing and the key turning in the ignition, or that hollow silence at 3 a.m. when the blue light of your phone finally clicks off and you are left alone with the ceiling. In those gaps, your heart grows uneasy. It beats with a rhythm that feels less like vitality and more like anxiety. That unease is not a symptom of stress, nor is it the result of a busy week. It is a symptom of absence. It is your soul checking its watch, tapping its foot, wondering when the real you is finally going to show up and take the wheel. You've been sensing this vibration for months, maybe years. It is a background static that no amount of loud music, busy schedules, or binge watching can drown out. You have felt it when you tell yourself, "I'll deal with the heavy stuff later." Yet later arrives, and you are still standing in the same emotional hallway, staring at the same closed doors. You have been pushing the snooze button on your destiny, hoping that if you sleep a little longer, the demand on your spirit will disappear. But it doesn't disappear. It accumulates. It gathers weight. I am not saying this to shame you. Shame is a useless weapon. It locks you in a cage of paralysis, and I am here to kick the door down, not add another padlock. I am saying this because truth, spoken plainly and with piercing timing, can still save what delay has been slowly siphoning from you. You need to understand the mechanics of what is happening to you right now. You are not bad for being late. You are asleep at the wheel of a moving car. I am the voice shouting to wake you before you drift across the median. You have run longer than you should have on empty fumes. You have postponed what mattered most, your peace, your alignment, your connection to the source, in favor of what screamed the loudest. You gave your prime hours to the urgent and left your soul to scavenge for scraps in the margins of your day. And even as you tried to convince yourself that everything was fine, that you were just grinding, just hustling, just getting through a rough patch, something in your gut kept whispering that time was slipping away like sand through a clenched fist. That whisper you've been terrified to acknowledge? That wasn't fear. You labeled it fear because that gave you an excuse to run from it. But it wasn't fear, it was awareness. It was the frantic waving of a flag on the shoreline while you drifted further out to sea. It was me. It was my voice calling you before the distance became a chasm too wide to bridge. It was the internal alarm system I wired into your DNA, designed to go off exactly when you start trading your gold for dust. Stop everything right now. Freeze frame. Put this message first. I don't say this because I have an ego that needs your attention. I possess all the attention in the universe. I say this because your soul is currently starving, and you are trying to feed it with distractions that have zero nutritional value. You have given your best energy to corporations, to social circles, to image management, and to hollow pursuits that cannot love you back. You have poured your strength into surviving Tuesdays and Wednesdays instead of tending to the heart that pumps life through your veins. You keep moving at this breakneck speed because stopping feels dangerous. You have convinced yourself that if you stop, the momentum of your life will collapse. But the opposite is true. You keep moving because stopping might force you to feel the things you have been meticulously avoiding. If you stop, you have to look at the scoreboard. If you stop, you have to admit that you've been running a race on the wrong track. I am asking you to stop because movement without direction isn't progress. It's just frantic energy slowly becoming loss. Time has been slipping through your hands, not with the loud crash of a thunderstorm, but quietly, stealthily. It leaves in the scrolling of a screen, in the mindless conversations, in the procrastination that masks itself as preparation. It happens one distracted moment at a time until you wake up and wonder where the decade went. And now, I am stepping in. I am interrupting the broadcast of your regular life. I am not here to scold you like a disappointed schoolteacher. I am here to wake you like a paramedic. The lateness you feel is real, but it is not final. It is a signal. It is the rumble of thunder before the storm clears the air. You are standing on a precipice, my child, and the discomfort you feel is simply gravity trying to pull you back to solid ground. Do not run from this feeling. Lean into it. Let it sober you up. You are late, yes, but you are still here. And as long as you are here, the story can be rewritten. I know the real you now, not the curated avatar you broadcast to the world on social media, filtering out the shadows until only the highlights remain. Not the polished professional who nods through Zoom meetings with a practiced smile, nor the reliable friend who always texts back, "I'm good," even when your world is quietly imploding. I'm not interested in the version of you that you use to survive the marketplace of daily life. I am looking at the one you become when the deadbolt clicks shut, the lights go out, and the performance finally ends. I know the thoughts you never speak because you are terrified that voicing them would make them real. I know the fears you bury beneath mountains of productivity, using exhaustion as a sedative so you don't have to think. I know the regrets you carry in the pocket of your soul, patting them occasionally just to make sure they are still there, sharp and heavy. You walk around with a dull ache in your chest, hoping no one ever asks the wrong question, the one that would unravel you right there in the grocery store aisle. You have become a master architect of your own defense mechanisms, building walls so high that you have forgotten there is a door. You've been operating under a fatal illusion, a sleek lie that comforts you while it robs you. You have convinced yourself that time is an infinite resource. You treat tomorrow like a renewable currency, believing that you can always withdraw another chance from the bank of the future. You tell yourself, "I will deal with my heart later. I will reconcile with my purpose later. I will get serious about my spirit when things settle down." But listen to me. Things never settle down on their own. Chaos is the natural state of a life left unattended. Later is not a safety net. It is a thief. It is the most sophisticated con artist in your life. It steals your destiny not by armed robbery, but by embezzlement. Quietly, pennies at a time, until you look at your account and realize you are spiritually bankrupt. You think you are pausing the movie of your life, but the projector is still running, and the film is burning up. You have tried to hide these broken parts of yourself even from me. You thought that if you kept the lights off in the basement of your heart, I wouldn't see the mess. You told yourself I wouldn't understand, or worse, that if I saw the full extent of your anxiety, your secret habits, and your hidden doubts, I would turn away in disgust. You feared that my love was contingent on your performance, that I only loved the Sunday morning you, the winner you, the got-it-together you. My child, there has never been a single microsecond when I did not see you completely. I saw you when you made that compromise you swore you'd never make. I saw you when you cried in the shower so no one would hear. I saw you when you stared at the ceiling, paralyzed by the gap between who you are and who you know you should be. Hiding did not protect you from my sight. It only insulated you from my peace. You cannot heal what you refuse to reveal. The parts you conceal in the shadows are the very places I long to flood with light. The truths you avoid are not landmines. They are the doors through which freedom enters. I am not exposing you to hurt you. I am revealing you to save you. This moment, this precise intersection of text and spirit, is not appearing by chance. You did not stumble into this warning while scrolling blindly. You were led here by a love that refuses to play by your rules of avoidance. A love that has watched you drift toward the edge and waited patiently for the right millisecond to intervene. This is a warning, yes, but it is a warning wrapped in fierce, relentless affection. Love that doesn't warn is not love, it is apathy, and I am incapable of being apathetic toward you. Love does not stay silent while someone it cherishes sleepwalks toward a cliff. Love steps in, grabs your shoulders, and shakes you awake, even if it risks being rejected, even if it makes you angry, even if it hurts your pride. If you are reading this, you are standing at a terminal point. This is your last chance to respond in this way, in this moment, with a specific clarity. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying I will stop loving you if you ignore this. My love does not expire. It is not a carton of milk. But moments do expire. Awareness does. Windows of clarity are not open forever. There are seasons when the heart is soft enough to be molded. And there are seasons when, after being ignored too long, the heart calcifies just to survive the neglect. You are at a pivot point where your heart can still turn. That is why this feels heavy. That is why your chest feels tight as you read this. It isn't anxiety, it's the pressure of opportunity. It feels urgent, not because doom is near, but because destiny is. You are sensing the friction of two tectonic plates shifting inside you. The life you are living and the life that is trying to break through. Do not ignore this friction. Do not numb it with another hour of scrolling or another glass of wine, because what you do next will shape everything that follows. Not all at once, it won't be a lightning bolt, but direction is set by response. You have reached a place where choosing nothing is no longer a neutral act. To stand still now is to move backward. Remaining where you are in this comfortable paralysis will cost you something precious. It will cost you the vibrancy of your soul. It will cost you the magic of being truly alive. You have been gaslighting yourself into believing you have time. But the clock on the wall is not the clock in your soul. Your soul knows what your mind denies, that you are already late. But being late isn't the same as being lost. It just means you have to run now. You have to drop the baggage of later and sprint toward now. I am not threatening you with these words. Threats are the desperate tools of those who wish to control you through fear, and I have no desire to control a hostage. I desire to liberate a child. I am respecting you enough to hand you the unvarnished truth, the kind that most people in your life are too polite or too distracted to speak. Life does not stand still while you decide whether or not to participate in it. It moves. It is a relentless, churning river, and it drags you downstream whether you are swimming toward your purpose or merely floating face down, hoping for a rescue boat that isn't coming. You have reached a terrifying intersection where choosing nothing is no longer a neutral act. You have told yourself the great lie of the procrastinator, that you will change when things settle down. You have whispered to the ceiling that you will put your soul first when work eases up, when the bank account hits a certain number, when the season of chaos passes. But look at your history. Does life ever really settle down on its own? Or does it just change frequency? Entropy is the law of the universe. Things left alone move toward disorder, not clarity. Life does not get easier on its own. It only gets clearer when you ruthlessly choose what matters most and let the rest burn away. You feel late because you are late. Not in your worth, your value is ancient and unchangeable, but in your attention. You are late to the party of your own life. Your heart has been waiting for you to return to it like a loyal dog sitting by the door, and I have been waiting with it. I see how tired you are, and I don't mean the kind of tired that comes from a good workout or a long day of honest labor. That is a clean tiredness that leads to rest. I mean the bone-deep, marrow-sucking exhaustion of the masquerade. You are tired of pretending. You are exhausted from the heavy lifting of maintaining an image that no longer fits you. You are tired of being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who has it all together. You walk into rooms and assess what everyone else needs from you before you even ask what you need from yourself. You act as the atlas of your own small world, terrified that if you shrug your shoulders, the sky will fall. You have filled your life with stuff, notifications, obligations, possessions. Yet your spirit echoes with the hollowness of an empty cathedral. This tiredness is not a failure. Society tells you it is. The world says if you are tired, you are weak. You need more hustle, more grit, more caffeine. But I tell you, this tiredness is a holy signal. It is the red warning light flashing on the dashboard of your soul. A car that flashes a warning light isn't bad. It's trying to save itself from catastrophic failure. Your exhaustion is your spirit screaming that you were not created to live disconnected from truth, from purpose, from me. You have been running a high-performance engine on watered-down fuel. You have been living off fragments, scraps of dopamine, fleeting moments of distraction, second-hand validation, when the banquet of fullness has always been set at the table behind you. I know why you hesitate. I know the anatomy of your fear. You are terrified of what putting this first might cost you. You are doing the math in your head right now. You are afraid that if you stop the performance, the audience will leave. You are afraid of what you might have to let go of, the habits that numb you, the relationships that drain you but make you feel needed, the ambition that looks shiny to the world but feels heavy to your heart. You are afraid of who you might have to become if you stop being who everyone expects you to be. But hear me carefully, my child. Anything you lose by choosing life was already draining you. Anything that must be released was never meant to carry your future. It was an anchor disguised as a life raft. You are clinging to weights, terrified that if you let go, you will drown, not realizing that the weights are the very things pulling you under. I am not here to strip you of joy. That is the lie of the enemy, that truth is boring, that holiness is rigid. I am here to return joy to you, real joy. Not the cheap, fleeting spark of a distraction, but the deep, resonant fire of a soul at home in its own skin. This moment feels intense because it is honest. Most of your life is spent in the gray fog of polite fiction. But here, in this space between us, there is no performance, no applause meter, no hiding place. Just you and truth. Just you and love speaking plainly. I am not asking you to fix yourself. You cannot fix what you did not build. I am asking you to stop running. I am asking you to stop pretending that delay has no tax. Every day you wait, the interest rates on your peace of mind go up. You feel late because your soul knows it has been calling out for attention longer than your mind wants to admit. You have become an expert at hitting ignore on the most important call of your life. I know the excuses you use. I'm too busy. I'm not ready. I'll do it Monday. I know how convincing they sound in your own head, but I also know what happens when a heart keeps choosing comfort over calling. The light doesn't go out suddenly. There is no dramatic blackout. It fades, slowly. The colors of your life wash out until you are living in grayscale. You begin to live beneath what you were created for, accepting a survival existence as if it were the standard. I am interrupting you now. Rudely, forcefully, lovingly, because I refuse to watch that happen without reaching for you again. You may feel exposed right now. That is not danger. That is the beginning of freedom. Mold grows in the dark. Healing happens in the light. You are safe here, but you cannot stay the same here. You may feel exposed right now, stripped of the heavy rusted armor you have spent decades welding to your skin. I can sense the instinct rising in your chest, the primal urge to close this text, to lock your screen, to crack a joke, or to find literally anything else to do that doesn't feel that invasive. That reflex is not protecting you from danger. It is protecting your sickness from the cure. You feel exposed, but do not mistake exposure for danger. Exposure is the beginning of freedom. A wound covered by dirty bandages will never heal. It will only fester in the dark. I am ripping the bandages off, not to see you bleed, but to let the light finally touch the infection. Exposure in my presence does not lead to rejection. That is how the world operates. The cancel culture, the shame spirals, the court of public opinion where one mistake defines a lifetime. But I am not the world. Exposure in my presence leads to triage. It leads to the kind of healing that can only happen when the wound is finally uncovered and brought into the sterile light of truth. I already know everything you are terrified to admit. I know the habits you return to when the house is empty and the loneliness bites. I know the bitterness you nurse against people you claim to have forgiven. I know the precise coordinates of where you ran off the road. And knowing all of that, every shadow, every crack, every hidden shame, I am still here. I haven't flinched. I haven't walked out. I am still calling you my child, still inviting you closer, still holding the door open while you stand there debating whether you are clean enough to walk through. You must stop, right now. Not gently. You need to crash into stillness. You have been moving at the speed of survival for so long that stopping feels violent. It feels like hitting a brick wall at 60 miles an hour. The silence rings in your ears. The sudden lack of distraction makes your skin crawl. This is the withdrawal symptom of a soul addicted to noise. You have used busy as a drug to numb the ache of being misaligned. And now that I'm asking you to be sober, the pain is rushing back. Good. Let it rush back. Pain is information. Pain is the nerve ending saying, something is wrong here. So say it. Whisper it if you have to, or scream it in the silence of your mind. Father, heal my heart and make me whole. Do not treat those words like a magical incantation or a polite request. Treat them like a survival signal sent from a sinking ship. If you long for restoration, this is your 0 hour. This is the moment to put this first, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is a fantasy land where you are disciplined, holy, energetic, and ready. But you don't live in tomorrow. You live here, in the messy, tired, imperfect now. Now is the only time you possess. Now is where your heart is actually listening. You have been bargaining with me, haven't you? You promised you would get serious after the next promotion, after the breakup, after the holidays, after one more distracted season. You treated my grace like a credit card with no limit, swiping later over and over again. But later has slowly mutated into never. I am not asking for perfection. I am done waiting for the perfect version of you to show up. That version doesn't exist. I am asking for honesty. I am asking for willingness. I am asking for a single, terrifying step toward me instead of another comfortable mile away. Do not harden yourself against this urgency. Let it break you open. A broken seed is the only kind that grows. You are late, yes, but you are not lost. Being late is a matter of timing. Being lost is a matter of identity. You know who you are. You are mine. You are simply a child who has stayed out past the street lights, and I am the father on the porch, not angry, but intense with the need to get you inside before the cold sets in. You are exposed, but you are not condemned. You are warned, but you are deeply, ferociously loved. This is not chance. This is mercy meeting you exactly where you are, in the mess, in the confusion, in the lateness. And what you do next matters more than you know. I am not saying this with thunder in my voice to scare you. I am whispering it with the intensity of a surgeon telling you that the operation must happen now. Even if your mind has tried to rationalize the delay, your spirit knows the score. You have sensed it in the quiet moments when everything slowed down. That feeling that you are a ghost in your own life. You sensed it when you told yourself you would deal with the important things later, and watched as later moved the goalposts further down the field. You feel the weight of it now because delay has mass, it has gravity. That weight pressing on your chest, that isn't stress. That is the accumulated gravity of 1,000 deferred choices. It is the physics of the spiritual world. What you put off does not disappear, it gets heavier. But listen to me. This pressure is not here to crush you into dust. It is here to press you into a diamond. This is awareness, and awareness is the sharpest form of mercy. I know how this happened. It wasn't a sudden rebellion. You didn't wake up one Tuesday and decide to abandon your purpose. You didn't sign a contract with mediocrity. It happened by degrees. You simply kept choosing later. Later when you had more time. Later when you felt stronger. Later when the kids were grown, or the job was stable, or the house was clean. Later when you felt ready. Each time, the excuse sounded reasonable. Logic is the favorite hiding place of fear. Each time, it felt harmless. But later, piled upon later, slowly became distance. Distance between what you knew was true and what you were actually living. Distance between your head and your heart. Distance between the you that the world sees and the you that I created. You did not mean for it to happen, but intention does not stop the drift. Only anchors do. And you cut your anchor loose a long time ago to sail faster, not realizing you were drifting out to sea. My child, I want to speak to you now about the things you have buried in the backyard of your soul. The things you are terrified will disqualify you if they ever see the light of day. You did not start hiding these parts of yourself because you were deceitful. You started hiding them because you were wounded. You learned to bolt the doors to certain rooms in your heart because, at one point in your history, vulnerability felt like walking into a firing line without a vest. You decided that survival required a split existence, one face for the daylight and another for the dark. I saw the precise moment you made that agreement with yourself. I saw when you decided that safe was better than known. You took the guilt that felt too heavy to carry. Guilt over sharp words you wish you could swallow back. Over bridges you burned in a moment of anger. Over the quiet betrayals of your own values. And you buried it. You told yourself that if you ignored it long enough, it would decompose. You told yourself, that was the old me. It's in the past. But guilt is not organic matter. It does not decompose when it is buried. It calcifies. It hardens into a heavy silent stone that sits in the pit of your stomach. And the deeper you bury it, the more it quietly shapes the architecture of your life. It whispers to you when you are trying to be bold, telling you that you are a fraud. It pulls at your sleeve when you try to step into new blessings, reminding you of what you broke. I see how that hidden guilt has convinced you that you are unworthy of the very peace you are starving for. It tells you that you are damaged goods, that you have missed the cutoff for grace. That whisper is a liar. You also buried regret. You folded it up and shoved it into the furthest corner of your mind because looking at it directly hurt too much. Regret over time that was squandered. Regret over opportunities you were too afraid to seize. Regret over the versions of yourself that never got to exist because you were too busy pleasing people who are not even watching you anymore. You replay the tapes at 3 a.m., wondering how the movie of your life would have ended if you had turned left instead of right. And because you cannot travel back in time to fix it, you punish yourself in the present. You live with a low-grade fever of what if. But listen to me. Regret is a ghost that eats the future. As long as you are staring at the door that closed, you cannot see the massive one I am holding open. Regret anchors you to a timeline that no longer exists. It steals your confidence. It makes you hesitate when you should leap. I see how it has slowed you down. Not because you are lazy, but because you are dragging a sledgehammer behind you everywhere you walk. You are not the worst thing you have ever done. You are not the mistake that still makes you cringe in the shower. You are not the time you wasted. You are not the label you slapped on yourself in your darkest season. Those are events. They are not your identity. They are chapters in a book that is still being written. And I am the author who specializes in plot twists. I do not look at your scars and see ugliness. I see evidence of survival. I see a warrior who is ready to lay down the sword and finally rest. This is the moment of resurrection. Resurrection is not just for the dead. It is for the living who have forgotten how to breathe. I am inviting you to bring the guilt, the regret, the shame, and the fear out into the open. Not to be shamed, but to be evaporated by the heat of a love that keeps no record of wrongs. You have lived too long divided inside. You have spent too much energy managing the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. That gap closes today. I am inviting you into wholeness. I am inviting you to stop being your own defense attorney and let me be your defender. Healing begins when you stop hiding. It begins when you look at the mess and say, yes, this is part of my story, but it is not the end of it. It begins when you stop trying to earn your way back and simply accept that you never actually left my sight. You are late, yes. The hour is late, but the beautiful, terrifying truth is that you made it. You are here. You are listening. And as long as you are here, redemption is not just possible, it is promised. If you are ready to stop running, if you are ready to let the dead version of you stay in the grave so the true you can rise, then I need you to seal this moment. Do not let this be just another video you watched, another text you read, another emotional spike that fades by lunchtime. Drive a stake in the ground. If you want the restoration I am offering, if you want to trade your heaviness for a garment of praise, then make this your declaration. Open your mouth or type it with your fingers as a physical act of faith. Comment, Jesus, be my unshakable defender. Say it because you are done defending yourself. Say it because you are tired of fighting battles in your own strength. Say it because you trust that my covering is stronger than your past, deeper than your regret, and wider than your fear. And then, share this message. Not for the algorithm and not for the applause. Share it because there is someone else out there, a friend, a stranger, a family member, who is drowning in the drift, feeling the same lateness in their bones, waiting for a sign that they can still come home. Be that sign for them. Be the lighthouse that proves the shore is still there. The delay is over. The masquerade is finished. You are known, you are loved, and you are free. Welcome home, my child. Come home. Be that sign for them. Be the lighthouse that proves the shore is still there. The delay is over. The masquerade is finished. You are known, you are loved, and you are free. Welcome home, my child.